Hello everyone, thank you again for joining me for another video. I just did this one a couple minutes ago and it was way too long. I talked too much about my shirt. I'm supposed to explain why I'm wearing this raggedy beat up shirt. It's just who I am. I don't ever pretend to be something I'm not. I'm an old man. I don't really I spent way too much time in my youth trying to impress other people, and this is just an old favorite shirt of mine that got beat up years ago. And I just happen to like wearing it, and it just happens to be the shirt that I put on when I got home from work tonight. So, what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to take the token that we created in the last video, and we are just going to simply drag him. So you'll left click and drag your token. I called it Warlord onto your Roll20 screen. And we'll get into Roll20 in other videos, but simply drag him onto the screen, and then you can um, maximize your browser. And when you do this, this may not make sense to many of you, and it doesn't 100% make sense to me. I haven't really figured out why. Uh, and you can see the little piece of the sword is left over in his cloak. Anyway, when you do drag your tokens onto a Roll20 screen, and you're going to eventually, and it'll be a future video, but eventually attach it to a journal. We'll get into those later. Try to keep in mind you want to try to do it on a standard size map. Basically, a 25 by 25 works perfect, or something along that line. You could use a Roll20 generic map. It doesn't really matter. I can't explain it. It just makes it better. If you put it on a wrong size map, you might end up dragging your token out to another map that's maybe a different size, and somehow it ends up really, really tiny, or maybe too big. Uh, I can't really explain it, but it works better if you just use a standard size map. You can click on your token, and I mean, oftentimes they come in so big, it's just easier to hit dimensions. So normally you want to kind of go one by one, but one thing I do often like to look at, and depending on the token, the whole snippet thing, I just thought of that tonight. So I think that's going to make my token creating a little bit better, because I'll show you an example of a really goofy token that I created. I took a picture of three bad guys, and I just made a token of each one, and one of them in particular, I think Bandit. Okay, so let me just, oops, I didn't do that right. Drag a Bandit out once. All right, so you can see, first of all, I had to make it a really skinny token, because in the picture, he's only a tiny little part of that picture. I can't really explain it, but in order for him to be a normal, like if I stretch that out, he's gonna be fat, balloony, you know. Um, so that's kind of how he is. He's just, like I said, I think I mentioned in the other video, he's going to be in the left side of the grid square, and maybe the guy that was over on the right, I don't even remember which one that was. Maybe I didn't even make a video for that one. I mean, not a video, but a token. But he would be in the right square, and then the other guy would fit perfectly in the center. But anyway, typically I will use units, and you're gonna see here this guy is currently 6.6 basically by 9. To shrink him down to normal size, first thing I would do is, you want to see what he would look like shrunk down, but with basically the same dimensions. So I would do 0.66 by 0.9. So 0.66 by 0.9, and that'll take him down close to a grid size. But you can see, like, so that's his perfect dimensions from the picture that we took him from. But and you'll see, I think I might have mentioned in the other picture that he'll be a little more stocky if you make him like a 1 by 1 grid, which I normally like 1 by 1 grids. I really do. It just works better. And you just kind of stretch that out and it'll snap to the grid. And then that's going to be what he looks like. Uh, no big deal. I mean, he's going to be a little heavier looking. You can bump it up to 200, kind of get a look. He doesn't look bad. I mean, he still looks like Stellan. Um, but now he'll be a 1 by 1 token. And we will get into attaching a token to a journal in probably the next video, because I have to prep a few things um, for tomorrow's session. I want to add some bad guys just in case. All depends on what happens in the session tomorrow. Um, the you know what could hit the fan. So I have to have bad guys ready just in case. And it won't be Stellan though. He's not actually part of what's going on tomorrow. And not even totally sure he will be part of what's going on in the closing of what we're working on here. But I just wanted to use him for creating a token, and I ended up kind of making this video a little bit longer than it needed to be. But we'll go into attaching a token to a journal in the maybe the next video, or maybe I'll go into journals a little bit. I'm going to kind of do a little bit of everything here. Because I do have to create journals for bad guys I may need tomorrow. All right. Thank you for joining for this video. That's basically really talking about the shirt, talking about dimensions and map sizes. But basically, you just take your token off your desktop, slide it on, work the dimensions, and then you kind. I'll get into the other stuff in the next video. I don't want to kind of add stuff to this video that won't make sense. So thank you for joining me. I hope you liked the video. I hope it is helpful to any of you that need this type of information. Thank you.